All right. Hey, everybody. Can you hear me? You will be,
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You all will be muted right when you join. If you want to unmute yourself, you can do that right at the bottom there if you haven't used Zoom a whole lot yet, though I know some of you will be really proficient with Zoom already at this point. But welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. Give a wave. Rather not say anything yet. You can give a wave. Say, I'm really glad that you're here. I know some of you aren't sharing video and you're just tuning in, and I appreciate that. So here's a couple of things before we get started. One of the things we're going to try to do, there's going to be some opportunities for me to hear from you guys, which is one of the reasons I'm really excited about this. And so to do that, whenever there's a chance to share, make sure you hit the participant icon at the bottom of your screen so that you can see all the participants. And when you do that, you'll see like a green check mark that says yes, a red X that says no, go slow, go fast, and then the more button. In the more button, there's a raise your hand option. So if whenever it's time for parents to start sharing, if you have something you want to share, if you could raise your hand, that will help us so that we don't speak over each other and really make the conversation difficult. The other part of making this conversation better is if whenever you're not sharing, you can leave yourself on mute. That will help us be able to hear the person that's sharing better. Okay. And so whenever you want to share, make sure you click that participants button and raise your hand. And then we'll kind of try to go in order. I'll host the meeting in that way. And then whenever you want to start sharing, go ahead and unmute yourself, share, and then jump back on the mute. Okay. Okay. So welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I'm going to try to say hey to everyone that I see. Hi, Carla and Colleen. Hi, Kendra. That's my wife. And hey, Miss Laura. I see you're listed as Hope Gill's mom. Nice. Though I've met you, so I know your name's Laura. And your husband, Alan. Hope he's doing well. Hey, Miss Carrie. And Jeannie and Steve, hey, thanks for joining us. And the Mr. Ben Singer, I see you there, thanks. And Mrs. Moser, and also see John Marble with the cool virtual background. Now you just need the big kayak. And then I've got Jenny. I've got Jenny over here. Hey, Jenny, I see ya. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. So I want to start with prayer, but tonight we're just going to run through a few things as quickly as we can because I know some of you are on Zoom meetings all day, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I just saw this as a really valuable opportunity for us to connect and for me to be able to share some things about this summer, which I'm sure this summer has produced a lot of questions already, and then a couple of other details about things going on in the student ministry that I think you would love to know. So if everyone's okay with it, I would love to start with a word of prayer. Father, thank you so much. Thank you for the day and age that we live in, that we live in a world where a pandemic can happen and quarantine can happen. And those, in light of the pandemic, quarantine is a good thing, keeps us safe and healthy, and maybe can put an end to it, Father. But also, you've given us a way to connect over the interweb. Father, through something like Zoom. We thank you for the wonderful people at Zoom, and I know they're working overtime to establish all these connections. But I thank you for this chance for me and the Student Ministry at Gateway to connect with parents who are also scrambling with maybe working at home and homeschooling all of a sudden for those who weren't already doing that, and a lot of different things that are making life crazy. So help. Yes, there'll be information shared in this meeting, but also encouragements, Father. I pray that parents would just be encouraged and know that Gateway, the leaders here, and me, and you, most importantly, that we're for parents, and we're working hard to continue to try to help and equip and do what we can, Father. And so we give this meeting to you, and it's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. So the first topic that I wanted to do to share with you all was just really to jump into this summer, because I think that's kind of the big topic on the table right now. And so that's where I wanted to go first, just right off the bat. in case there are some of you that have to jump off eventually. So if while I'm going through this stuff, you have questions, feel free to leave it in the chat, okay? And I'll see those come up. If you feel like it'd be difficult to interrupt me, just type it into the chat. I'll also be dropping some links to different things in the chat box throughout the evening, throughout our meeting. And so you'll find some links there as well. But like I said, if you have questions, just drop them right there in the chat window. Okay, so let's talk about CIY a little bit. So I'm going to move to a screen sharing option, so you're going to be able to see what's going on my screen, and I want to show you what's going on with CIY through their own website. And so CIY has been working really hard to make adjustments, but they've also taken a really big hit financially. They had to cancel all of the rest of their spring tours through March and April, which meant refunding a lot of event stuff. And so while they're working hard to prepare for the summer, they've also taken a big hit. So if you love CIY, which we do here at Gateway, we love CIY, please be praying for them. They could definitely use your prayers. Okay, but if you can see my screen, you'll see some of their updates, and I wanted to show you. Hey, Miss Janelle, by the way, thanks for joining us. I wanted to show you this update video from one of the directors called named Lane Moss. And so he gives you some information, some reassurances about what's happening this summer with CIY Movement. And again, this is an event for 9th through 12th graders. We're planning on going from June 22nd to the 27th in Johnson City, Tennessee. And so here's Lane Moss with some updates and some reassurances about this summer. Hopefully it works.
Hey, Lane from the Move team here. I hope you're doing well. We've spent the last couple of weeks talking with youth ministers, hosting gatherings via Zoom, and I can't tell you how impressed I am with the work you're doing. Churches are rolling with the changes. You're hosting small groups via Zoom. You're figuring out how to play and pray together at a social distance, and I can't tell you how inspiring that is. We spent a lot of time focusing on the now, but now let's talk about summer. Move is happening, like for real. I can 100% say that Move is happening. What's it going to look like? Well, there are some unknowns there, but we can promise you that we're working to create something that will meet whatever restrictions are in place. If we can meet in giant auditoriums by the thousands, we'll load up the trucks and see you there. Our team is working today to make sure that we're ready, but if restrictions are in place, we'll be ready for that too. In fact, our team is creating an experience right now for if that were to happen. So here's what I need you to do. Hang with us. We've already pushed the April 1 deadline back to May 1, so your deposit is holding your spot for Move no matter what it looks like. Leave it with us. Doing so will ensure that we're able to partner with you in 2020 and in the years to come. So be patient with us as we work through the ever-changing information. And if you have questions or you just want to talk youth ministry, please let someone from our team know. I believe that God has plans for 2020. Let's see what he does with it. You're still working, so are we, and most importantly, he's too. Kingdom work never stops.
Okay. So hopefully you all got that video. Can I get a thumbs up if you're able to see that and hear that? Okay, very, very good. And so that's Lane Moss. That's one of the directors. I've met him personally. He's a wonderful dude. And so you can tell that CIY is working hard to prepare for this summer. Like I said, our original cost for CIY for high schoolers to go is $450. That covers their lodging and board, room and board for the week, our transportation, a couple of meals during transfer, or one meal during transportation, and extended rec day and different things like that, t-shirt, all that kind of stuff. However, if CIY has to make a pivot, I'm going to turn off screen sharing for a minute so you can see me. If CIY has to make a pivot, then that means that the price will reduce significantly, like Lane shared. The majority of that cost really is room and board for the week. And so if they do pivot, I don't know. I don't have like specifics as what that will look like. They seem to be hinting that what it will look like is maybe some type of online, pre-recorded or streaming version of CIY to be able to be streamed live to students' homes whose churches have registered for the event, which obviously will be different will be heartbreaking in a sense, but it will still be high quality, really great stuff. You know, if you have any relationship with CIY or history with them, you know that they work hard to really um, um, do a good job of calling students to kingdom work. And so to register, okay, so originally our early registration deadline, that like deposit, $50 deposit was due for our students by, originally it was March 29th, which that date has passed. But I sent out an email before that date last week sometime, just saying, hey, we're pushing that back actually to April 29th. Now CIY's deadline isn't until May 1st, but I need a couple of days to be able to pull in all the registrants and make sure that we have all of our numbers right. So April 29th will be the $50 deposit deadline. You don't have to have the entire amount in by then, especially because we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the quarantine. But if you can get a $50 deposit in by that time, then that means that your student spot will be locked in, or their friend, wherever it is, will be locked in, and make sure that they have a spot for CIY and whatever it looks like this summer. Obviously, my hope and dream is that we get to go to Tennessee and we get to gather as 1,000 different high schoolers from churches all over the country and have CIY like it's supposed to be. But CIY is preparing, as are we, for the contingency that might not be able to happen. And so I wanted to show you really quickly, I'll jump back onto screen sharing here. I wanted to show you really quickly, in case you hadn't ever checked it out. On our website, this is our website right here, gccstl.org/students. You'll see that Pastor Carl and one of his sons, Kean Shad, have worked really hard to make our website look really nice. Not only look really nice, but be really easy to navigate. And so this is a student page. So if you're on the home page, if you go to just gccstl.org, you just scroll down and click this icon here, and you'll be able to see students. I'll make sure you can see my mouse here, and you'll be able to see students. And so you just click on that, and it'll pull up the student page. And so here's basic information for new people. So scroll down past that. Your stuff will be further down here. Okay, and so this is how you can watch our Wednesday nights. If you aren't sure where the link is, or you aren't sure how to share that with friends, you can just tell them to go to our website, and there's a really big button right here that will take them right to it. And so that's extra. But then also registering for events. You register for CIY right here. You register for High Hill Christian Camp, high school camp here, and junior high camp here. So that's how you're going to register for those events. Okay. And welcome, Addie. And that's kind of how you're going to do that. So that's kind of the information I had to share with you about CIY. I just wanted to instill in you that, hey, CIY is still going to happen. Please get your deposits in, your student register for that, their friends registered, so that we can make sure we're ready when that time comes. Any questions about CIY before we move on to some information about camp? So is that a no before we move on? If you think of questions before we finish the meeting, please let me know. One thing I want to remind you of is if that cost change or if it doesn't. So hypothetically, if it doesn't change, we end up going to Johnson City, Tennessee, then that cost will remain at $450. And I know that that's steep, especially if you've waited so long, and also especially if you were furloughed or laid off for a while from work, and you had some just money flow issues because of all this quarantine stuff. There are some scholarship opportunities for camp and CIY, and I'll be talking about those in just a minute. But that we hope that some of those kind of things will help alleviate some of that pressure too, if CIY remains where we hope it remains. So, okay, well then,
Jeremiah.
Oh, Ms. Colleen, I see your hands up. Okay.
Yep. I just went to the website, and the registration is closed on the GCC student button, on that register button. It's closed.
Hey, thank you so much for telling me that. I will make sure it's open right after we get off of here.
Okay, cool.
Okay. It's possible that I closed that temporarily because of some uncertainty about things. And so I will reopen that right after we close our meeting. Thank you, Ms. Colleen, for letting me know that. Any other questions before we move on to camp? Okay, so let's talk about High Hill Christian Camp this summer. Obviously, camp is working hard also to prepare for all of this, and their hope is that camp goes on as normal. Okay, and they have this whole page where they said, actually, I'll share this with you so you can see it, that camp is on. Okay, is their plan. And so they've answered a lot of questions on this page, but here's just a few of the things that they're talking about. High school camp is supposed to be from June 7th through June 12th, and camp costs $200, whether it's junior high camp or high school camp, $200 per camper. Now, Gateway does pay $75 of that cost for every member or regular attender of Gateway. There's a code you can get from the office to set you up for that. But high school camp is supposed to be from June 7th through the 12th. And junior high camp was supposed to be from July 19th through the 24th this year. But it's possible that those might be adjusted. Probably not junior high camp because it would have been the last camp of the summer, but maybe high school camp. Okay, they have shifted all of their early bird dates to May 1st, so that's helpful. We don't run that registration; it goes right through the High Hill Christian Camp website, and so. They've shifted all the way back to May 1st for high school camp deadline. And so that gives you more of a time for this wait and see what's going to happen kind of season that we're in. Okay, another thing they've done is that they're allowing deposits to be transferred. Now, as much as CIY has taken a hit, as camp tries to make adjustments, it's possible that camp's going to take some really big hits this summer as well. And so they are encouraging that if you can transfer deposits to next summer, or if you want to support the camp through some extra giving, if you have it available, they are encouraging that. Camp is really, really a wonderful place where disciples are made every single summer, all year long with retreats. Baptisms happen, and just incredible things happen in the name of Jesus, kingdom work-wise, in students and kids' lives. And so it'd be a great way. We support that mission at Gateway. Great way to give some extra if you're looking for ways to do that. But they are allowing deposits to be transferred. So what that means is that if camp gets moved to a different week, or you were going to high school camp and it got canceled, but high school wilderness is still happening and you want to transfer it to that, that's what that transfer looks like. Or if you want to transfer it to summer 2021, that would be an option. Okay, and so that's what they're looking at with deposits. Now, if a week of camp gets completely canceled, like wiped off the board, like if high school camp just isn't going to happen, they're offering a refund, including deposit, full refund for those campers. And so hopefully that offers some reassurance. And then obviously we talked about rescheduling. They've already talked to me as one of the deans for high school camp. They've talked to me and Kingston. Kingston's my friend who's the other dean of high school camp about possible maybe July 5th through the 10th date for a high school camp if we have to move it back. And so that date worked for us. But we know that will cause a lot of issues, changing things and different things like that. But that's kind of the time in the season that we're in. And so we're just trying to work hard and figure out a way that high school camp could still happen if we had to move it. And so that's where High Hill Christian Camp is. As you said, we want to remember this message that camp is on. Okay. And so hopefully I can encourage you all to operate like that's exactly what's happening. Like camp really is still on. Okay. I showed you how to register right on our website. That registration doesn't go through us, so it'll be wide open right now if you want to go to it. But like I said, the CIY registration, I'll have to go back and open that up right after we get finished our meeting. So questions about camp? Any questions about camp? Thank you, Miss Janelle. I saw the A-OK. Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Hey, so before we move on to more information, I wanted to break up the monotony a little bit. I came across what I thought was kind of a funny joke. And so would it be okay if I shared the joke? It's a dad joke. Okay. So a boy asks his father, he says, "Dad, are bugs good to eat?" And the dad says, "That's disgusting. Don't talk about things like that over dinner." After the dinner, father asks, "Now, son, what did you want to ask me?" And the boy says, "Oh, nothing. There was a bug in your soup, but now it's gone." kind of cheesy. But there you go, trying to break up the monotony. Thanks for the applause, Lisa. I appreciate the attempt to bring some comedy to the meeting. So I just wanted to talk about the other events, and kind of how we're working hard to figure those things out. Right now, we're kind of really focused on online Easter here at Gateway. All of us pastors are working hard trying to figure out what that's going to look like, how to be dynamic with being Easter online, and kind of like all of our gears are turned towards that right now. We've got some really exciting stuff that's going to be happening in the student ministry this Easter that I'm really excited about. So that's kind of where we're at as far as our thinking and timeline wise right now on those things. Now, I will say that if you're wondering what Easter is going to look like for your family, and what are some things that you can do to still have a great Easter celebration at home with a stay-at-home order with the quarantine thing going on, we use a curriculum on Wednesday nights here at Gateway for students called Orange, and they have put together an amazing experience for Easter. You have Easter at home called Easter Jam. That's not just for students. It's actually the kids team and the students team at Orange teamed up to put this thing together. And so I haven't looked deep into it yet. They just released it yesterday, but I wanted to share that in this meeting in case you're interested in wondering how you could do some things at home for Easter in your family. So the link for that is in the chat. I just attached it there. And hopefully that link works. If it doesn't, let me know, and I'll try to forward you an email after we close the meeting. And there's some really cool way for you guys for us all to still have Easter. I'm getting some thumbs up like that link works. So that's awesome. So that's something really cool. They call it Easter Jam. But we're still working really hard on that. One thing I can assure you is we're still planning on doing senior Bibles for our class of 2020. We're getting those ordered. Those are still going to happen. The gifts that we want to give to our seniors, those are still going to happen. Now, the other events, smaller events that happen typically to finish out the spring and during the summer, like game days and high school nights, middle school nights, we're kind of still in an uncertain kind of wait and see place with all those things. And so if you're curious about like the student activities calendar and all the things we're supposed to be doing, we're kind of in just a new territory of figuring things out as we go. And we're trying to supplement some of those events through Facebook at Gateway STL Students and Instagram at GCC StuMin, so that students can still be connecting through a lot of these different things. And so were there other events that were supposed to happen this spring or this summer that y'all have questions about that I haven't really addressed? You can put them in the chat as Ms. Janelle has done. That I haven't really talked about that you're curious about or just have questions or concerns about. Ms. Chanel is asking what will be the plan for Senior Sunday. So we haven't really talked about that yet, but I would love, because Senior Sunday, Graduate Sunday is typically a youth Sunday, and our senior pastor is really, really wonderful in the fact that like he's very, very supportive and as a champion for the student ministry and the kids ministry. And you all know that. I don't have to preach that. We know that he is. I love getting to work with them and learn from him. And the thing is that probably will still shape out like it is a Graduate Sunday. Like they'll probably have some unique things that we do with that. Now, we haven't put much thought to it yet because it's still kind of, as far as Easter's right in front of us, and that's near the end of May, we haven't given a whole lot of thought to that yet. So there is some room for suggestions and ideas if y'all have those. And that's one of the things I wanted to encourage in this meeting. If you have ideas, suggestions for me, please be sending those my way by email, text message, give me a phone call. If you don't have my cell phone number, I'll put it in the chat down here so that you can have it. You can text me there, call me there, FaceTime me there if you have an iPhone. Use that to throw suggestions my way, ideas my way, and I'd love to figure out ways that we can bring that in, because I know you all are awesome and are a huge part of our ministry. We want to partner with you, so throw those my way. Question about other events that maybe I haven't really touched on that you're curious about or concerned about. Okay, if you think of any, let me know. All right, we're moving right along here. So those are the main things that I wanted to touch on. Other things, I just wanted to kind of reshape the vision for you on some of the things that we're doing. And so on Wednesday nights, we are doing ministry still for students, for 6th or 12th grade students. It's mainly through Youth Group Live on our YouTube channel. Okay, all you have to do is search Gateway Students St. Louis on YouTube, and you'll find us in one of the top 3 results. If you can't find us there, like I said, on our website, you can find us rather easily by just going to our website right here, scrolling down until you see Watch Youth Group Live, and we're right there. So that's how your student can plug in and watch Youth Group Live. We're on episode 4 next Wednesday already. That seems crazy. We're having a lot of fun with it, but man, we definitely miss being with students. And I also feel for, like, you know, we're trying to tighten our circles and be as conscious and safe and healthy as we can with all the quarantine. And so I'm also conscious of some of the students that really, hey man, I could be really helpful with Youth Group Live. I really wish that I could be there. But we just feel like the wisest choice right now is to keep our circles as tight as possible, to keep everyone healthy and safe through this time. And so we have some awesome small group leaders. Some of them are in the chat with us right now, like Jeannie and Steve and Miss Janelle and Jenny and Michelle and my wife. And they're working really hard to connect with your students through Zoom, this platform right here, through GroupMe, through Google Hangouts, through direct messaging on Instagram, so that they can continue to disciple your students and partner with you, and encouraging them through this time and being there for them and praying for them. And really, they are incredible. We have incredible partners and volunteers on our student ministry team. And so hopefully your students are going to connect with them. I wanted to just kind of ask you and get some feedback from some parents. How's it going? How's it going with you getting to watch Youth Group Live at home with your students, or your students just getting to watch it on their own, and then subsequently the small group connections? How's that going?
I was going to ask you that. I mean, so it seems like he's been having fun, but I don't know.
Kendra, my wife, actually shared with me that she saw Ryan comment on our Youth Group Live last night that he felt like this was like a professional level podcast that we were doing. When she shared that with me, I was super encouraged, because I felt like coming from Ryan, that meant a lot. And by the way, that is kudos to our technical team. They are really, really just killing it. So, yeah, from our end of things, to answer your question, John, from our end of things, it's tough. It's tough because it's unique and kind of weird to just be transitioned from doing face-to-face in-person ministry to face-to-camera ministry. And there's a heaviness on my heart about that, because I want to be with students. I want to see parents. I want to connect with you guys. Want to be there for you. So it's tough. But also we're trying to have a lot of fun with it. And I think we are, trying to get some different faces on there as much as we can through, whether it's actually on set or through videos. And we're going to be trying in the coming weeks to get some more of our volunteers in videos on Youth Group Live on Sundays. But I think it's going well. I think we continue to get better at it. Thanks to our technical team, thanks to Jesus, and thanks to just kind of working hard and making adjustments, stealing from other churches and what they're doing and what our colleagues and contemporaries in ministry are doing, and figuring out, hey, here's what they're doing good. We could borrow that and try to copy that, because that's good disciple making through this time. So from our end of things, we think it's going well. Yeah, what about you guys? Stealing. Stealing might have been not the right word to use. Borrowing, maybe, or I don't know. You can give me a new word.
This is Janelle, and I'll speak for our group. I help lead what grades are they now? In 8th and 9th grade girls. And we had 7 or 8 girls on last night, and we had a fabulous conversation. And we had talked a lot about fears, and they brought up some of the things that they're dealing with right now with the whole, COVID-19, and just some of the sadnesses and the anxieties that they're facing. And they really opened up. It was a great conversation. So I think that we're making the most that we can, thanks to Jeremiah and his team. We're making the most that we can out of the technology that we have, and we're giving them a forum, a safe forum to be able to connect with each other and talk. And, some of them are laying in their beds, and some of them are walking around their houses making food. And, we told them, everybody block your audio because it got so noisy. But I think they had a great time just connecting virtually. So thank you, Jeremiah, for going to such great lengths to make all this happen for them. I think it's really important for them to be able to be together and vocalize some of what they're feeling with each other. So we're having a good time with it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Janelle, for sharing. And thank you for sharing kind of your experiences with it so far and your girls' experiences with it. And thanks for the encouragement too. That's always appreciated. Praise the Lord. Anyone else want to share kind of how it's going at home with kind of some of the stuff we're putting out on Wednesday nights and ways we're trying to connect with you guys, your students?
It's a little hard for Jen and I because we are simultaneously doing college class. So we're not quite as connected. I mean, I know Ryan's watching downstairs, but we're not watching with him because we're leading another group.
Well, that and every time you try and get up behind him, he says, "Go away."
Yeah, that doesn't help. Yes, and I became aware of you guys hosting the college group on Wednesday nights, I think last week. And I know that can create a difficult dynamic. If you guys are trying to connect with Ryan over the material, the one thing I can think is that Youth Group Live gets posted on our YouTube channel. You can always go back and watch just the message part, which is 15 to 20 minutes, right in the middle of the video, and connect with him about some of that stuff, and then use the small group material we've been emailing out. Yeah, I know that can create a difficult dynamic. Also, it's not just college groups that are also meeting on Wednesday nights. We got kids stuff coming up on Wednesday nights, and Pastor John's doing some interesting things, some really good things on Wednesday nights as well. And so I know there's a lot of options, almost like online Wednesday night life is still happening, which is cool, really cool. Though we know at home with all the different devices going, it can create a little bit of a chaotic dynamic. But hopefully we can work through that together and figure out some ways where you can still get on our YouTube channel and watch and still connect with your student about some of those things. Okay.
I was going to tell you, I enjoyed you eating the hot pickle.
Last week. Last week. So that spicy pickle, it was called Devil Spit Spicy Pickles. We actually just sent it out to Laura today as part of her prize package. But I will say this. It was pretty spicy. However, for the drama of it, I might have played it up a little bit.
Oh.
I don't know if that's like, that's a little bit of a confession, I guess. But it was spicy. It was spicy, but I was not about to throw up on the set or anything like that. Thanks for sharing though, Tim. Okay. Before we move on, does anyone have anything else that they wanted to share about how Wednesday nights are going, or concerns about it, or ideas?
I guess one more quick question. Have you considered doing any other besides Wednesday night?
Yeah, good question. Good question. At this point, Gateway has really rolled out a very robust online media schedule. And so it means that—
I guess kid related though, I guess.
Could you repeat that for me one more time, John?
That's more kid related. I mean, there's definitely a lot of good stuff online that Gateway's been doing. I'm just wondering if there's anything more kid focused that you're thinking about.
On different nights other than Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So as far as in the evenings, as far as doing like anything like we're doing on Wednesday nights right now, for students, not so much. We're kind of putting all of our eggs as far as that level of ministry, online ministry, into Wednesday night. I am working with my Sunday morning teachers to develop a better approach to Sunday morning with students. Just sent out an email to, well, you would have gotten it, Mr. Marble. Sent out an email to my Sunday morning teachers today about stepping it up a little bit for students on Sunday mornings. I have not, so right now, I have not considered heavily or really at all trying to replicate what we're doing on Wednesday nights on and I'm not sure if you're asking if doing it on an additional night or doing it on an instead of night.
Oh, I was thinking additional, but I understand it's a lot of work you're going through, so that's awesome. I just didn't know if there was any bandwidth left to do more.
Yeah, there would be some opportunities if you all would suggest that, if that's what you're, and I think you are, Mr. Marble, suggesting that there'd be some opportunities for me to get on or to even share some of our Instagram login information with some of our trusted leaders for us to get on live and do some interaction, some different things. But as far as doing it on the level that we do on Wednesday nights right now, it would put us in a really difficult position, just because one thing that's really cool that's happening through all this is the Gateway team is coming in really close together. And really, whenever any ministry right now is putting something online, it's not just the kids, it's not just Sherry, it's not just me, it's not just Carl, it's not just Brian or John, it's the whole team coming together for that moment, for that Sunday morning, for that Wednesday afternoon kids moment, for that Wednesday night students moment. It's all the cogs turning at once. And so as far as pulling the whole team in to do another night like that, probably not in a position to do that at this point. But as far as maybe doing a few more video things on Friday nights, that's something we could do, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be super high production value every time. I think just a few minutes to connect with kids or do something funny with kids would be good. I know Ryan is really feeling disconnected, and not that you, Jeremiah, have to fill all of the void that he has, but I know that he's missing a lot of his church friends. And if there's ways to engage multiple times throughout the week, even if they're not big splash out productions, but just, hey, let's get together and play a game, 2 truths and a lie or something like that, and whoever wants to log in can jump in on a certain time. And that might be one of your small group leaders can organize that, or maybe one of your student leaders could organize something like that too, but just another connection point, because I think the adults we have so many wonderful things now on the calendar, like even Friday morning. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of your story for Carl and Carrie tomorrow morning. So just being able to have those little touch points throughout the week is really, really helpful to me. And I think the kids might enjoy some more of that as well.
Okay, I hear you on that. And that's something that we can do. One of the things that some of my contemporaries in youth ministry right now are doing is they're doing their whole youth group on Zoom on Wednesday nights. I don't think we'll pivot in that direction for Wednesday nights, but it is something where we could host like a Zoom game night on Fridays, or maybe since I have you here, is there a night in particular that's best? Is Friday night good?
Schedule's wide open. One thing I'm seeing a lot of people do on Instagram and stuff like that is to say, join me, like bring your lunch and let's just eat lunch together. Right. So whoever wants to come in on Zoom and have lunch together is something. They're even doing it on Instagram, ask questions, and will I answer questions on my Instagram live or whatever. I think it can be something as simple as that. And I don't think we have anything on our agenda, do we, John? Every night is the same as the other night.
It's all the same kind of day.
Yeah. Okay. Those are really good ideas, Colleen. And I'm writing those down. And we'll plan on trying to figure out creative ways to implement some of those. I think Zoom this is the first time I'm personally actually using Zoom. And so I really like it. I think it could be a really great way to meet with students on additional occasions. So I like those ideas. Thank you so much, John and Colleen.
When you're asking about what night would be good, I know some students like our daughter, her dance classes are all still going on. They're in the evenings. They're just live on Zoom. So like for some families, such as our case, Friday nights works really well because there tends to not be those kinds of classes on Friday nights.
I wonder if everybody could comment their favorite day. That might help.
Yeah.
And then maybe take like a poll that way. Would be a good idea.
Good idea.
There's actually a way to do polls on Zoom. Elliot did it last night for our college group. We did 2 truths and a lie, and he created polls for each person.
You have
And
to
you
be the
can vote
meeting
on it.
owner to do it.
Yeah,
So you should be able to do it, Jeremiah.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how though.
I'm looking into it. But I know some of you guys are coming in with just your comments here. That would be also discovering how to do polls could be interesting if we do some youth group thing. So I'm not seeing it right now, but I will look into it and try to figure out how I can do that. And for now, I do really like Carrie's idea. If you just comment in the chat, let me know kind of what you're thinking. Could be cool. Other ideas that come up, go ahead and post them in the chat. So like I said, on Sundays, we're also trying to step it up and do some different things on Sunday mornings for students. Emailed my Sunday morning teachers today. I'm going to try to get their faces on there on our Instagram for students on Sunday mornings as well. But basically, we're focusing heavily on sort of our memory verse challenge. So we're looking at the story of the prodigal son and trying to encourage students to be memorizing that still and working towards the date. The date's going to be May 17th for reciting that entire story of the prodigal son. And I believe that's like Luke 15:11 through 32. If they can recite the entire thing on May 17th, then they'll actually get a $50 scholarship towards Camp or CIY this summer. And so we already gave one a $25 scholarship for the parable of the Good Samaritan last fall. And so they can add on to that if they memorize this one for May 17th. And so we're focusing on that. Hopefully be hearing from some of our Sunday morning teachers on Sundays for students as well through Instagram and Facebook. Just encouragements, reciting the memory verse and saying, hey, we're praying for you. We're here for you. And so we're working on that as well. And can maybe implement some of these new ideas for Sunday mornings for students as well. So as we kind of bring our meeting, our time together to a close, wanted to definitely create some space here at the end to ask this question, because I think of all the things that we're doing, there wasn't like a pre-meeting for the quarantine. It all came down so fast and so quickly, and we started scrambling to figure things out. And there was a lot of we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to begin figuring these things out. And so there wasn't time to gather right at the beginning or before this. And so now we're gathered, and I want to ask you, what are some additional ways? I think you've shared a little bit already, but what are some additional ways that we can continue to help you? The student ministry can be here for you as parents, because we want to continue to partner with you. We want to encourage you, and we want to equip you. And so, what are some? How can we help? How can we help you?
I think it's just like John and Colleen said, it's just providing ways for them to connect with each other. You know, they're trying, you know, they do their best, but they all miss each other a lot, and compounded with, you know, missing their school friends. So just ways to connect, you know, just short, quick thing. I think that's the big thing, is just connecting.
Okay. I'm writing that down. And if does anyone else want to share some ways that we can continue to help you at home as parents?
I have something to say. I raised my hand.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Jeannie.
All right. One thing that was suggested yesterday in my school team meeting, my Zoom meeting, is that one of our teachers that also is the cheerleading coach, that we have a that she said that she found that the students weren't connecting with each other outside of the school as well. So every day she encouraged her cheerleaders to reach out to somebody new, or, you know, just reach out to somebody you haven't talked to recently and see how they're doing. And, you know, chat them up, or like you suggested, have coffee with them over Zoom or FaceTime or whatever.
It's a great idea. So just kind of like reach out to someone new each day.
Yeah, because I mean, Rhett has connected with some of his friends from church, but not everybody. But every week there could be, you know, or every other day or something, they could connect, or you could send out something, and I don't know, one of those little game things that they're talking about. You could, you know, connect. You and Michelle and Nathan did that last night. Whatever that game thing is, you could partner people up that way too, and they could connect that way and answer different ways that way.
Yeah. Like through Youth Group Live, or through, if we did like a Zoom platform.
Yeah, that or Zoom platform, or you could, you know, just suggest that, send out something to, like you do us, and say,
Kahoot, yep.
Oh, gotta be careful with that. But with, you know how you send out the reminders? You can send out a reminder and say, hey, how about connecting with somebody you haven't seen in a while, or you didn't see on in the small group chat, or whatever it was last week.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, if you're on here, Jeannie mentioned the reminders, and you don't get our remind text messages. To begin getting those, all you need to do is text @GCC Stuman to the number 81010, and you'll start getting those. I'll type that down here. But yes, thanks, Jeannie. I think that is really a great idea, to begin encouraging students to reach out to someone new each day in kind of creative ways. And we can start doing that. Absolutely.
Well, yesterday, also because I'm teaching from home as well, speaking of those cheerleaders, I had 2 of them on a Zoom call with me yesterday just to go over some questions, but I also think they wanted somebody to chat with for a while. So that was because I have both of them in my Spanish classes, but they're in different hours, but we all connected together. So that's kind of where I'm going with that, because again, they were the cheerleading coaches, cheerleaders, but they're in my Spanish classes, 2 different hours, but we all still connected.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a great idea that we can begin implementing some of that right away. Hey, Miss Jen.
Hi. Last night for our Wednesday night group, we had Benno lead us in some worship, and that was super powerful. We learned from our experience, so we have to all mute because we were all singing along, so we were like catching each other's voices. But when we figured that out and we let him just sing, and then we sang, you know, to ourselves in our own homes, that was really powerful. So I don't know if you can add maybe some more worship, like even a morning, if there'd be somebody that would be willing, Elise maybe, that would be willing to, you know, hop on her ukulele or her guitar, or I mean, Laura could probably do it too, and just say Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m. before y'all start class, we're gonna do 2 worship songs, or I don't know, it could vary so that people could jump on at different times. But that was really powerful last night, to hear a familiar voice singing and then to be able to worship along with them. And you're doing a fantastic job on Wednesdays, and the kids really enjoy that. But to us, that was nice and uplifting.
Yeah. Great idea. Something that we can begin creating space for right away as well. So great idea. Thanks, Jen and Bill, for sharing that. Other ideas or ways that we can be helping you guys at home?
I don't really know what they're talking about as like the youth group, like on the Wednesday nights after the youth time. I know that there's some small group conversations, because I know Hope really is loving that, but I don't know what like the content of that is, because I'm not in it. She does that in her room, but I don't know if they do something like this in it or not, but some kind of just touching base with the small group of just their highs and lows for the week, you know, just touching base, not solely about, and maybe they're already doing this, but not solely about a Q&A about the lesson, or so to speak, but just touching, base, like heart to heart about, how's it, what went well about your week? What's hard? How are you doing? That kind of thing, just more of a relational kind of conversation kinds of thing.
I'm going to add to that. I know our group and Jeremiah had sent it out the first 2 weeks that we did do Wednesday Night Live, that we asked the kids questions about how do they feel right now in the situation that we're in, because we are social distancing ourselves from everybody, not just certain groups of people. And our girls were very open the first 2 weeks that we discussed that. So Jeremiah had included those types of questions in with our content that we already were doing with the lesson.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Good to hear.
And praise the Lord. And we got, like I said, incredible small group leaders that help convey those questions and create those environments for students. That is one of the things, and I hope that Laura, not Hope is your daughter. Laura, that is one of the things that we work hard to instill in our small group leaders, even during normal times. I tell them, listen, if your small groups needs to talk about something else and you don't touch on the lesson material that night, that's okay. I'm not offended by that or feel attacked or vulnerable by that. Like that's, the most important thing for me is that students make a strong relational, Christ-centered connection on Wednesday nights with their group. And if that happens, then that's a win. We want to encourage them to keep doing that though, through the online ministry. I will say this, parents, if you can help us reinforce some guidelines for that small group time on Wednesday nights. Had some small group leaders and small groups that I've just noticed that have had some distractions and different things. And so if you can help us reinforce a couple of guidelines, one of those is if during that small group time right after Youth Group Live, if you can just ask your student to refrain from playing video games or watching TV or doing some other distracting activity during that time, if you can help us out in that way, that would be really cool. That would make that time better for everyone, for all the students to connect. If you can encourage them to not spam the live chat or the Google Hangout chat or the Zoom chat, that tends to be really distracting too. By spamming, I mean just like filling the chat with like kind of like nonsense that doesn't mean anything. That creates a big distraction from the connection. And then just kind of respectfully listening, kind of like we're doing now, respectfully listening when someone else is sharing and then being ready to share as well. If you can help us reinforce some of those guidelines, then I think we can partner together that way and make small group time right after Youth Group Live on Wednesdays even better. And for any time that we connect through this kind of stuff. Okay, very good. Listen, this isn't the only time that you all can share with me. I thank you so much for your ideas. If you have ideas that come up, please email me, text me, call me. I put my cell phone number in the chat and let me know. I know some other ideas came through here on the chat while we were chatting, while we've been meeting. Like idea to let the Momentum team do a shift night online. I think that's a really great idea. The Cahoots idea. I'll look into that link after we get off here. Thank you, Laura, for sharing that. And some of these other ideas that are coming through. Thank you guys so much. But please be sending those my way as they come to your mind, and I'd be happy to look at those and figure out creative ways that we can implement some of those ideas. Okay, and so I wanted to kind of close, not with another joke, don't worry, but with an encouragement. Encouragement is from Romans 8:31. Paul just wants to remind us that, listen, we serve a powerful God. And in Romans 8:31, he says, listen, if that God is for us, what then shall we say to these things, even things like coronavirus and pandemic and quarantine? If God is for us, who is against us? And Paul just reminds us that as a church, as families, with Christ at the middle, God is for you. God is for you, parents. And we are for you in the student ministry at Gateway. We're for you, and we want to support you and help you. And so kind of want to close. Are there any things that I can just be, that we can be praying for you about right now during this season specifically? If there's not anything specific, obviously I'm going to say a prayer to close our meeting in general. But if there's anything specifically that I can just be lifting up, I would love to hear about that. Okay. Okay, so if you have prayer requests that do come up or needs or concerns, I'm only a phone call away, a text message away. Please reach out to me. I'd love to continue to be there for you, and I am here for you as parents. It's one of my most important roles. I really believe that. Alongside my role to disciple students, is to partner with you all and support and encourage you all. So, Mr. Tim.
Unmute it. Oh, so I think just for consideration of with the coronavirus that's occurring and the deaths, and that's just going to continue to peak. I mean, I think just keeping a pulse of how the kids are, how much of the news are they seeing, how is this impacting them? Because it's just going to get more challenging. So I think it's just going to be important to really keep a pulse on that over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I just saw online, I don't know if you have any Eureka High School students, but one of the counselors from Eureka passed away from this today.
Oh, goodness.
So, this may start to impact school staff and people's family, students' families and extended families, but certainly like their school might end up having some issues. So definitely being on top of that kind of stuff.
We have a senior in our school. His dad has it.
Okay.
They said that he's been hospitalized, but he's now been fever-free for 48 hours.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like good news.
Yeah, we just found this out today, so they just sent it out to our staff and let us know. But yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. Be praying for the schools. We have a couple of families at Eureka High School, so definitely be praying about that. How tragic. Okay. Well, let's go to the Lord in prayer, and then I'll just have a couple of signing off things I want to share with you right after the prayer. Okay. Father, thank you so much. Thank you for all these parents and the families they represent here in this Zoom space here tonight. Father, and thank you for all the other parents and families that are part of your family here at Gateway. And just pray your encouragement, your blessing upon the families, that Jesus, you would remain at the center, encouraging and giving endurance and patience and grace and all the things that we need to honor and glorify you through this time, to still be witnesses for you in our neighborhoods and in different ways that we can be, Father. And I pray that this time has been a balm and encouragement for parents to know that, hey, we're still here, we're still working hard for families to succeed, to win. And we pray for the season coming up for Easter, just that it would just still be a huge celebration in families of our freedom in Jesus, and our freedom from death and sin and disease and hopelessness. And now because of the resurrection, we have so much more to look forward to in our life, Father. And we just want to pray for our schools that are happening, that are feeling the effects, our staffs that are feeling the effects of schools of the coronavirus. We pray for Eureka High School, all the students and families that are part of that school, and certainly our families here that are part of that school. Just that you would bring hope to that situation, bring comfort to that situation. You would just bring Jesus. Father, I don't know how to pray a better prayer than that. Bring Jesus to that situation, Father. And just be with all of our teachers as they're trying to figure things out and continue to teach our students as well. I know we have some teachers on our team that are trying to figure that out, like Miss Jeannie, Miss Susan, and different teachers around Gateway. And we just pray for them, that you'd encourage them, equip them, pull distractions away so they can do their job well, and help their students to engage with them as well. Father, thank you for this time we've gotten to share. We know that you've provided space for that, and we certainly praise you for it. Thank you for your son, Jesus. He keeps us up during this time. He keeps us hopeful, keeps us joyful, and gives us what we need. And so we thank you for him, and we pray in his name. Amen. Amen. Okay, so as we get off here, a few reminders. Have your students or you yourself follow us on Instagram. That's at GC Stuman. Okay, on Facebook, you guys, I put parent stuff. Usually I'm saying, hey, parents on Facebook, because that's usually parents. That's Gateway STL students. Okay, you want to register for events, you go to our website and put all this in the chat. That's gccstl.org/students. Okay, and then YouTube. as I put earlier. You can find that on our website, but you can also just search YouTube Gateway Students hyphen St. Louis. Okay, you follow those things and you'll see the things that we're already putting out, some of these new ideas, which I'm really excited to begin implementing, that we're going to be putting out. Then you're not going to miss those things. So thank you, parents, all for being here. Thank you, Addie and Bill and Jen and Colleen and John, Jeannie and Steve and Laura and Alan and Kendra and Lisa and Stephen, if you're listening to Miss Carrie, Michelle and Jenny. Thank you all for joining us. And if I missed anybody, I don't think I missed anybody, but if I did, let me know about it. We'll look forward to continue connecting through this time. So hey, Tim and Janelle, thank you. We look forward to continue connecting in unique, creative ways during this time. Reach out to me if you need anything, you have prayer, whatever it is. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Okay. Yeah. So good night. Thanks, everybody.